All right. What is up, guys? This is Not Solstice or Pot of Greed, a few different monikers that I go by, but specifically in this Pokemon League that I'm playing in, I go by Not Solstice. So we're playing in the Emerald League hosted by Mr. Arc and K. And this is going to be the 16th season of this league, which is super cool. I've been a part of it for the last couple. This is the first time I've been able to start making content, primarily because I had pretty limited experience with competitive Pokemon. I grew up playing the games, but to be able to start playing it competitively, watching content competitively, it's been a bit of a learning curve for sure to see how it all works. But I've been enjoying it a lot. I've been able to make some decent, successful runs, and then the most recent season in season 15, I made it to finals and ended up losing to Arc there. But we're doing a pretty unique draft league style this season, and so what we're ending up doing is we're actually creating different like team-based oriented ones. So we have 4 per team. There's 16 in the league total, and each kind of fills a different role as like Alola or Kanto in the different regions. So I'm a part of the Alolan region. So we got a few other teammates. We got Critter, we got Joe Schmo, and then we also got Silver Hammer. So Silver Hammer was our team captain. He picked me and the other guys, and I think we're gonna have fun playing through this season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the drafts. So we started out with our first pick because we were the second to last, I believe, for the draft order, because Ark and I had made it to the finals, and so whoever had been out first in the league or had the lowest standing started first in the draft, and then we did a snake draft all the way through. But as I was looking at the variety of Ubers and things that we had in this league specifically, I decided to go with Deoxys Attack. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll see down the line some of the Pokemon I was able to pick up that will support Deoxys. I think it's pretty frail, but man, it can hit like a truck. So it's got some great special moves. It's got some great attack moves. I think there's going to be some fun sets that I can develop with this guy right here. So with my second pick, I did decide to go with another Uber. I went with Kyurem Black. I didn't realize how much it would be for work for having to gen or create this Pokemon in the game, since we are doing this on cartridge over Wi-Fi. So I had to learn very quickly how to get the DNA splicer and start to create Kyurem Black. So once I got that figured out, that's been a lot easier. So now I've been able to kind of build some pretty unique sets. At this point, I've played already 1 or 2 games. Well, actually, I've only played 1 thus far. And I'm coming back to this a little bit late, but that's okay. I'd rather it be late than never. So yeah, Kyurem Black, very, very strong physical attacker. Has decent enough speed. It's not going to be something that's going to be outpacing some of the likes of Fluttermane or, you know, some of the big Pokemon that are going to be in the league. There's a lot of scary teams, and I think I've got a couple decent options right off the bat with Deoxys Attack and Kyurem Black that are going to be able to threaten pretty much anything in this league, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, the only limitation I've noticed with Kyurem Black is that there isn't a huge move pool. So there's some very specific sets that are helpful. A lot of times the most common set is going to be like a Dragon Dance set. So we've been playing around with that a little bit, trying to see. I think week 1 I did end up scarfing it to outspeed, and it ended up working out okay. It got some good damage in, but ultimately I did end up losing 0-1, so that's okay. But with that being said, with our 3rd round pick, we chose the namesake. So I do go by the Orange County Okidogis, named after where I was born. I didn't live there for long, but you know, gotta throw it out there. So Okidogi, I'm looking forward to using this mon. I've not before, so this is the first time I've chosen it for my namesake, to be able to get it. It has some cool little sets. I think a lot of times I've seen Assault Vest sets. It gets some decent move coverage, which is nice. Obviously, and when you look at its stats, its speed tier isn't absolutely insane, but honestly, with this current format, it's probably not going to be horrible into things like some trick room sets or some things that I can start to set up in the back that you'll see with some of my support mons coming up. Hopefully, Okidogi can kind of swap in, take a hit, and deal some damage back. The Drain Punch set can work pretty well, so if you can get things set up on Okidogi, he can do some good damage. Decent enough attack, obviously, not as strong on the special attack, but has a little bit of some support moves that are also helpful. So I'm looking forward to getting to use Okidogi. So I initially drafted Tornadus Therian because I thought that it had defog. I was not thinking. I forgot that it does not have that. I'm pretty sure it's the fact that it no longer has it. It has historically had it. So what was initially meant to be a bit of a defogger has now kind of pivoted into being just our regenerator. So it works out okay. Its HP isn't super crazy, but it has okay enough stats that you can kind of build it bulky and it can take some good hits. It has some good support moves. It does have Tailwind, so that's at least feasible to use. And there's some other sets I think that could be helpful with it, but for the most part, I can kind of switch up how I want this Tornadus to play. So if I want it to be offensive or if I want it to be defensive and bulky with Regenerator, I think I have some options. Its speed is great. It's going to be one of the faster of my Pokemon, and it outspeeds a lot of Pokemon in this Uber set. So beyond some of the Deoxyses and some of those other more common recent gen Pokemon, it holds its own for sure. But so we'll see. This is kind of one of the Pokemon I'm on the fence about whether or not to keep, and that might end up being something I switch out at some point this year. But going into our next pick, our 5th round pick, we chose Uxie. So Uxie we're going to use as a Terra, which is going to be great because it has a lot of great defensive stats. It has a pretty decent speed, so it can kind of play into a couple different sets. It's great at setting up utility, getting rocks down, getting different things like that. It can be a good yawn Pokemon. It can also, when you can Nasty Plot and get off a few if they're not expecting that, it can do some pretty awesome stuff. So I'm excited to see what I can kind of cook up with Uxie. I've already kind of been playing around, looking at all the different move sets and seeing what we could do. So I'm looking forward to how I can Terra it. I've looked at Terra Water or Terra Fairy with Draining Kiss. That's been something I've already used a bit, especially because a lot of the big Ubers in this league are going to be Dragon Pokemon. So it's a pretty good wall going into some of those Dragons. So let's go ahead and move on to our 6th. We picked up Indeedee as a Terra Captain, so I'm pumped. I've got some stuff I'm cooking up already for this week. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a variety of ways you can do it. You can speed creep Indeedee to get the terrain down and swap into Deoxys, whether that's using a eject button or something like that. So I'm looking forward to how that can pivot. Only thing I didn't check before drafting is I was curious to see if there's teleport. So it might just end up being that Indeedee could become a lead at some point, or it could be something like that. Where it just ends up being wiped off the map right away, and I get it something else in to be able to counter. So we'll see, because obviously something like terrain extension or things like that can be helpful on it. So if I'm not using like an eject button or other things, that there's some good utility with Indeedee here. It is, as said, a Terra, so I can also swap it to whatever I think makes sense if I'm not trying to set it up, or there's just some goofy sets that I can do with this, which I'm looking forward to being able to do with Indeedee. With our 7th round pick, we picked up Hawlucha. So Hawlucha is a great combination into Indeedee because you can use the Psychic Seed. So once you get that off, you get your Unburden, which would make it so it's double its speed. So I think this is a really good option into teams, especially that might be Sun teams that have Chlorophyll. It could be good into teams that run. What was the other thing I was thinking? Pretty much anything that ends up doubling speed, or like Tailwind setters or things like that. Speaking of, Hawlucha does have access to both Tailwind and to Defog. So this kind of ends up being my defogger in some sense. So there might be some weeks I bring it as primarily a utility. Its stats aren't necessarily meant for it to be able to eat a bunch of hits, but I think there's some good options that we could have with Hawlucha. it is a very scary physical threat when you can get a sword stance or something off on it, because it can start to just wipe through teams when you get that setup right. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Halucha might be able to bring in the back this coming season. Going into our 8th round pick, we picked up Zoroark Hisui. So I'm pretty excited. I think Hisui and Zoroark is a really cool mon, because you can basically just disguise it as whatever you want it to be. So I could have it look like it's a Deoxys thread. I could have it look like it's something completely else. It could come in as Okidogi, whatever I want it to be. So that could be helpful, say, especially in a fighting mon with the ghost typing. There's some cool things that you can do with this. So I believe the first week I did end up putting a choice scarf on it and had it as an offensive threat, and it did pretty well. But we ended up matching up against an Entei with a choice band and extreme speed. So, that thing kind of hits like a truck with against the other Pokemon. So I needed to play around Zoroark a little bit more than I did, and I think I would have been able to take that down. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get there. We're figuring it out. So that's been one of the fun parts, is kind of seeing how this whole team can start to work together. But the cool part about Zoroark is he has a pretty deep move pool. So there's some really unique moves that you can run with it, whether it's popping a flamethrower unexpectedly or some of the other things it has. There's some pretty good sets that you can use. Going into the 9th round, I picked up Diancie. So I really like this Pokemon. I think the fairy typing into this Dragon League in a lot of ways has been very helpful. There's some really unique sets that you can start to set up with Diancie. It can set Trick Room, and that can benefit some of the other Pokemon I have on this as well. Whether it's a lower speed Uxie or a lower speed, with the speed tier so high, I mean, you can just pop you can get that down. You can get a Trick Room in and be able to start looking to set up and sweep. So I'm excited. I think I can kind of pivot between some different versions of this team with some faster, with terrain setup, and then no prio being able to be used in psychic terrain can be great. Diancie can also use a lot of different fairy type moves and keep itself alive for a long time. It can set up rocks. It can, do the good old classic. It has a move that doubles, or it can raise its defensive tier by 2. So then I can start clicking all sorts of. Why can I not think of that specific move? You guys know what fighting move I'm thinking of that I can't think of right now. But being able to get that set up and start to cook that way has been something that can be used in the near future if I like to. Yeah. So moving on from Diancie, we have Berserker. So I wanted to have a little fun. I've never used Berserker. I just was like, you know what? Let's throw it as a Terra Captain and see if at some point I can bring it in. It's nice to at least have one Steel type Pokemon going into if anyone does have some stronger Fairy types, etc. I think this could be a good swap in. It's going to be pretty niche, I think. There's going to be only certain handfuls of weeks where it really makes sense for me to bring Berserker, but I'm excited to explore it a little bit more, see what kind of sets that I can come up with. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to being able to kind of play around with this team. Beyond that, I mean, that's kind of just an intro to the team that I've put together. I'm pretty excited. There are some really, really scary teams already that have been created. So I'm a bit nervous to see what sort of stuff we might run into. Week 1, the Alolan squad did end up going down 0-4 against the team that we matched up into, unfortunately. So I didn't explain it very clearly, but the way it kind of works is each week the squads match up against each other. So it ends up being a matchup each week that determines like your overall record against that team. So say you sweep them 4-0 as a team, each person plays one person from the other squad. Then you would end up being able to kind of have additional tiebreakers. It end up having playoff implications towards the end. So us going down 0-4 was a little tough, but we did get a squad win yesterday. So Mr. Critter was able to pick up a W yesterday, which was great. So we were celebrating getting our first win, which was fun. But we have 2 more games left, so we'll see if we can squeak away with a 3-1 or even a 2-2 split with this the squad that we're playing against this week. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm looking forward to getting to do all this, and yeah. So if you, I'm not really someone who's posted a ton on YouTube recently, but if there's any way that you want to subscribe or hit a like, go for it. I'd love to have your support there. Feel free to sauce any comments that you got. No pun intended, sauce, if you watch this, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to play and learn more and see all these unique sets that we have. So thanks, guys.